Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo, and I am here for Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3, Episode 3, about the culling game, and I'm ready for an info dump. I'm also ready to be back. I have not recorded anything this week. This is the first calendar week recording of the week, which makes it a little weird because I haven't watched anything in between the last Jujutsu Kaisen episode, and I can't see the future, but I find it a little bit ironic that I titled the last week's episode Inside the Fire after a Disturbed song that kind of reminded me of. And because of the way that I felt like I keep coming to this idea that Yuji is stuck inside the fire. He's stuck inside that city. He's stuck with the blood on his hands. He's stuck. But over the course of this week, we've been in genuine danger. There was a fast-moving brush fire that started very literally like a block away from my house, and it has been danger close for most of the week. We were under mandatory evacuation orders, and I gotta tell you, it is a strange experience to pack up everything that's important to you and throw it into a couple of backpacks and be ready to leave everything else behind in a moment's notice because you're gonna die if you don't. It's really scary. But I made a post about it on Patreon. Maybe I'll put it in here. And I realized when I was packing everything up that I didn't really mind that much. That what's really important to me is not mostly any of the material possessions that I have around me. Lots of them are very useful things, like I don't buy a lot of frivolous stuff. So I'm surrounded by tools and like recording equipment and stuff. And I realized that everything that I really needed to continue doing what I really care about, which is this, I could fit in that bag easily. And part of that is because I spent some time at other houses over the past year, 2 years or so. And so I got familiar with like recording and editing on a laptop and knowing that I could take like a portable recording kit somewhere and just do what I needed to do. But my passions come from me and come from the outside world, and I don't really need stuff. It doesn't matter that much. Clothing and a laptop and a camera, and I was good to go. Very interesting feeling, and in truth, it made me really grateful for the people, the community that has become constructed around me, around this work, around the art that we interpret and and engage with, and knowing that those people would, at least to some extent, have my back, and that's really fucking cool. And I think I'm going to tie it in a little bit to JJK. It matters immensely to have people, to have some kind of support, to have some kind of connection, even if it's not direct friends, family who are right near you. And I do have some of that. I have a found family who's incredible and who I knew in those moments, like it was not even a question that where they went, I would be welcome as well. But having somebody to rely on, having people who see you, who care about your existence, matters a lot. And I want to fold that in here to a comment spotlight about the last episode. This one comes from Maston Music. Hi, Maston. Who writes, Yuji and Geto have a lot of parallels if you start to really look for them. In this episode in particular, it's pretty prominent if you look at Megumi as playing Gojo's role and Yuji playing Geto's. Except this time, unlike in Season 2, Episode 5, Megumi is actually reaching out and properly confronting Yuji in his time of need, where when Gojo didn't, or maybe couldn't, do that for Geto in the past. I think it's a really interesting layer, and it makes the relationship between Yuji and Megumi more compelling. And what I think about this and the way that I'm tying it together is that if I did not have the close people around me, if I did not have an audience who I know will support me, if I keep producing, if I keep making stuff, if I keep on this path, there are people who are aligned with it and want to see me succeed to some extent. Without those things, the experience of watching that fire come up over the hill would have been bone-shatteringly terrifying, because I would have nothing, and it would be the emptiness of the void staring back at me. That's a place that I've been in before, and it's not a very fun or comfortable place. When the connections that you have aren't strong enough for you to actually fall back on them, when those connections don't exist in the first place, when you've isolated yourself, when factors outside of your control have isolated you, in the case of Geto in many ways. losing things becomes really meaningful. But when you have support, when you have opportunities, when you have other people, when you have those connections that are like the seeds from which you can rebuild yourself, losing material things means a lot less, right? It doesn't matter. Those things can be replaced, and you have the things that you already need or that you really need. But if you're in Ghetto's situation and you're completely alone, it's easy to see how you might slip into a worldview that's very, how do I put it, very adversarial, where it's you against the world, and there's no part of the world that you can integrate into yourself and like make a part of your team. There's no teammates, there's no friends, there's no like support network. It's all you. It's all that rugged individualism, man. And that's cool, man. Like being able to support yourself, being able to deal with a crisis, being able to survive, being able to be psychologically resilient when you don't have anything is powerful. It's like immensely powerful. It'll help you get to your goals. But when it's held up above and like viewed as righteous and support, needing support, leaning on other people, having support systems, being connected, being part of a society, right? Like contributing to groups that maybe don't contribute back to you because it makes you a part of the group. When we emphasize the individualism over the connection, we lose a fundamental part of what makes us human, and we become, well, less human. Less human. There's a horror manga anime anthology thing called No Longer Human, and while the individual stories within it don't actually do that much for me, the idea of it, the overarching umbrella that's captured by the title, that you can do something or engage in something or act in a certain way that makes you feel internally like you're no longer human, no longer worthy of like being part of the human experience, and cut yourself off from that, has always like anchored itself in me as like, wow, that's a scary idea that you could by your actions turn yourself into a monster. And I think that one of the ways that you do that is by cutting yourself off from others. So I'm really grateful for Maston pointing out these parallels. There are a number of them, from Yuji washing his hands and Geto in the shower to this framing of Megumi, now potentially scion of a powerful house, interacting with Yuji, man with a cursed ability that causes him great pain and is tearing him up internally, and he doesn't want to use really, but kind of feels like he needs to because he's bound by certain ideals. And in a rehash or a recapitulation of the same experience, Yuji has done something potentially unforgivable, can't forgive himself for it, is our frame for this one. Megumi shows up and actually interacts with him and engages with him. And what he really says is, I need you, right? You matter. All of that other stuff, we see him like struggling with emotion and like scratching his head and not certain how to engage with this, but he still reaches out, right? He still says, you're part of the team still, and we're all going to need you. And I think that might be the part that matters the most. So that's pretty much my intro here at the beginning. There's one other thing that I want to mention, which has to do with information for the info dump, because we've got a little bit of it, and we'll be getting a whole bunch of it in this next episode, I'm sure. But there's one line that apparently was translated worse in the Kaizoku subs than it was in the Crunchyroll subs. And there's a lot of discussion about whether the Kaizoku subs are better, and most people seem to fall on the line that Kaizoku are the best available subs right now. However, they do make choices in translation that sometimes make the Crunchyroll subs slightly better in certain places, and this is one of those. And there might be ones in the future. If there are, I expect and hope that people will jump into the comments and let me know what the actual interpretation was, and I don't mind getting it wrong in moment if I find out the next couple of days when people post comments about it, what actually happened there, okay? But the change was that Kaizoku translated Rule 7 of the culling game as the game master must accept any proposed rule in accordance with the previous rule unless it would have a marked and long-lasting effect on the culling game, which I kind of questioned. I was like, what does that even mean? And Crunchyroll translates this as except when the rule would significantly hinder the continuation of the culling game, which makes a lot more sense. If this shit ends the game because you put a rule in place that makes everybody suddenly invalid to be killed for points or whatever, right? Like just completely destroy the rules of the game, we don't have to accept that. Perfectly reasonable, makes total sense. Thanks for the information, and because we're dealing with a translation, it helps a lot to have other people in the comments helping with those translation fiddly bits. Yeah. I'm sure that there will be a better, like, all-encompassing translation later, but we don't have it right now. We're gonna use Kaizoku continuing, but I will be on the lookout for things that feel weird or strangely translated, and I'll mention them with that context in mind that, like, well, this might be wrong. Like, this might not be a great translation of what we're looking at. Okay, I think that's it. That's my spiel for the beginning of the thing. We have set up our little heist into the academy, and now I believe we've met Tengen, who it seems is very powerful and very knowledgeable, and is probably going to tell us all about the culling game that's coming up, and maybe plenty more other interesting stuff as we go. We'll have to watch and find out, and we'll get to that in just a moment because I need to draw something. I think I want to use tools. Since I realized that I had this compass set, I've been really enjoying making use of it, and doing more like mechanical, sort of hard-edged, straight-lined drawings and stuff. It's kind of fun. The crispness is cool. I'm gonna put it right here. Yeah. It's like a giant fucking boba straw. That's like so fucked up, fucking far over there. Okay. I just wanted to draw one of these giant boba straws. I think that they're gonna be called colonies, but what the fuck are they? Are they battlefields? Are they places that we enter, giant zones for fighting and stuff? Are there more than one of them? The instructions seem to indicate that there would be more than one of them. Are there going to be a bunch of these like scattered all across the globe? Should I have drawn like another one in hovering over like wherever the fuck Russia would be, like that? I don't know. All right, that's my intro. Let's watch episode 3 of season 3 of JJK. I've got it up and ready to go. There'll be 2 versions, picture-in-picture in the description, timer on YouTube, early access on the Patreon. Subscribe while you're down there, and beep beep timer to count you down. Let's go! Oh, also, I'm going to switch to the honorifics track. There's something that appeared behind Megami when he jumps off that building, and I didn't catch it. I'm curious what it was. I love how the vocal track gets more and more distorted, more like vocodery. And then comes back to pretty clean. It's a really cool song. Hi! So the Michizane one is, Yuta. Hitoka. Yeah, Choso's not sure. can't. Kenjaku? How do you know Kenjaku? Hey, why are you so fucking weird? Uh, huh? Huh? I would turn into an eraser? Are you sure? Me in 500 years. I don't know. That was a really interesting framing around the tunnel, but with none of our characters in between. Bro, you interrupted Megami. Is that getting further away? Uh-oh. Hmm. Hmm. The background changes. Sorry, line art color. It melted. Whoa, okay. Yeah! We turned this space into an exposition realm. I usually hate that shit. But this is kind of cool. Because we've actually established the space. Oh. What changed? Yeah. Oh, so in trying to prevent it, it accidentally unlocked it? Or did they know that when they killed her? Probably not. Omnipresent, but not omniscient or omnipotent. Oh, Arida. I This voice actress is amazing. Mm. Mm. Yeah, goal point Y. This background track is really cool. Feels like video game music. Oh. Oh, he can eat her? Oh, shit. Oh, no, I didn't think of that. If he gets there, we're all fucked. Gosh, so we really have to do like a full capture the flag where we have to protect our own base. Oh. Hmm. So with the 6 eyes sealed and the star plasma vessel dead. Oh. Can't fuck with the fate. Which brings us to now. Okay, I'm getting pieces. I'm still confused. It's okay. Shattered the fate that tied us. And there he is. Okay. But they have to be cursed. So we gotta prime them. Send them through kindergarten first. Koroni to koroni. It's a cool change. Oh, the rules. Okay. Oh, he can't be the game master. Okay, so then who is? Oh. But who is? So there's our translation fiddliness. It's really about anything that disrupts the ritual. Get enough points. That's the bait. That's the bait. Yeah, but that deletes the main bad guy's plan, so he's not gonna let that happen. Yeah. But we need a plan, but oh. Perfect. Yeah, for sure. She would be really useful, but we need everybody else. Oh, oh, football. The back? I didn't realize we had it. Oh, but we don't have it. She has the back of it. It's like a different object? Okay, it's a different object that also links to the same dimensional portal space. Whoa, okay. Hmm. Hmm. Where are those? Yeah, where are those? I forget where those are. We know about the spear. We saw it, right? I fully have forgotten. Sorry. Oh. Great, great, great. Somebody has it. From 1,000 years ago. Oh. Feels like suddenly we've got a Chainsaw Man crossover, right? Strange. Kurusuhana. It's kind of close to killer. Okay, interesting. They've been around for 1,000 years, though. Do they also have a relationship with Kamo? We just know where she is, okay. Cool. It's kind of neat. These are the colonies? Oh, they are. They're all across Japan. And then a barrier. Huh. So it'd be too hard to take it over with a new barrier. So it's really just a nudge over the edge. And then the whole thing establishes this giant barrier. Cool. How is he going to accomplish that, though? Whoa, that was pretty. And who is this? Really? No. Oh, wow. No risk for Maki except death. Mm. Who enter a colony become players. I'm missing something in the translation here. Because there's nothing in that that has to do with leaving. One point for normies, 5 for sorcerers, right? Yeah. Yeah. What? Okay. I don't. So it's a big computer system, and we have these fairy interfaces. It's still 25 sorcerers. Is there any way to trade points to other people? Hmm. It would strain the strain the vows, it has to be somewhat fair for it to work. Just like the physics of it. 100%, dude. Players who do not show a change in points. Okay, planning. Solid. I believe in them. I'm really scared what will happen if they get attacked. Okay. Oh, yeah. I'm not sure if he is, because now he is out there, right? Okay, we'll see. I bet now he's gonna show up and stop that. Is that the guy who was making the tools? I don't know. Start rack up some points. And he can hold his own completely, so yeah, that's a good idea. No, for sure. This feels scarier than... Oh yeah, the deal. But I don't want you to die. He's like, fuck it. We'll deal. Okay. Okay, we got a new character. Okay. No, he's not. You just modest. God, this is a lot of information, and a lot of pieces of it don't make total sense to me. And that's totally okay. I just have to deal with it. It'll all make sense in the wash. And there are a bunch of pieces that we don't really have answers to. I guess, no, okay, the tools we have to find Angel. We're watching them leave, man. Brother? Brother! I am now convinced that this is the last time they're going to see each other. I am now 100% convinced. I'm really sad about it. And obviously, I don't think it'll be Yuji. Shh. Cute. Okay, we're Letterbox. What's going on? We're somewhere else. Bad comedy show? These are all just normal people. Something's gonna go wrong here, right? Maybe an awakening? Somebody had a lot of fun with this cut. This is awesome. Oh wait, he's Love Me, Love Me. He's the guy from the OP. Wait. Good job. This whole sequence is really beautiful. Which one are you? I'm a mess. That's what I am. I'm a fucking mess. Yeah, you're a player. Absolutely. Is that end of ep? Wow. How did entirely just talking end up being like really engaging the entire time? This is a real challenge. Yeah. Because you've seen people fail at this. You've seen shows fail at this. You've seen shows fail at this when they do just a couple minutes of it, let alone a whole episode. Like, it's a bad idea to do an episode like this. And yet I really enjoyed that. I don't wanna overinflate it. It's like it's got flaws. The framing is the flaw. But within that flaw, I don't know how you could do this much better. Okay. Something about this, I need to find the words for this ED, the song itself. It's like a triumphant Broadway musical song, something like that. It's the only time we see her, huh? And then he opens his hand at the end, huh? Skibbity, scoobity. That might have been no, now yeah. You are me and I am you. What? What? Make me glad I gave birth to you. Maybe that's something you say to a Zenin. Or a Zenin says to a Zenin. You are me and I am you is crazy. Fucking now, yeah. Okay, I started talking about it as we hit ED territory. But we've got like a fundamental problem with this episode, and that is that we have to deliver 24 minutes of exposition and we have 24 minutes. That's like actually a problem. The reason is because we've all seen that episode of an anime where the characters go to a coffee shop and they sit down across the table from each other and they just tell each other everything that they need to know about whatever's about to happen. Usually it's stuff that both characters already would know, and it's really fucking annoying. And then maybe we cut away from it or we do what we can to liven it up a little bit, but it's kind of a sacrifice. It's like, we're going to make this one portion of this episode way worse so that we can get the information across so that we can do what we need to do in the future. And that's the situation that we're in here. And we nail it as best as we possibly can. I think there's a fundamental flaw, and I think that the flaw is in the frame. You're trying to do exposition, right? Like information transfer from over here, got a big pile of it, and we need to get it inside the audience's brain over there. But we also need to make sure that they actually watch it and they don't just skip it. So it needs to like feel important. And we need to make sure that they don't like completely tune it out so that they actually can pay attention to it and figure it out and be intrigued and like be engaged by the whole thing. I was pretty engaged by this episode, pretty engaged by the exposition itself and the way that it's framed. I think that there's a tendency to be like, the dialogue is gonna be a wash, so we'll just try to make it visually appealing and add cool elements. And that's all throughout this. We do a whole bunch of visual elements to try to make this more appealing, and I think they really do. I think it's a cool space, and I don't have what is often my gripe with these kinds of scenes, where these things just sort of appear out of nowhere with no justification. We're in somebody's magic realm, and she is actually showing these to us as though she's doing a PowerPoint presentation. But because we're in this magic space, we can put those elements literally everywhere. We can find ourselves standing in the midst of a giant 3D map of the thing and actually engaging with it as though they're visual elements in our world. And the same goes for all of the display of the rules and stuff. I can imagine this being done very similarly in the manga panels, with the rules being written out on the floor around them and characters standing around sort of like posing and looking at all the rules and stuff. It's cool. I think it's a really cool idea, and I think that it makes for lively visuals all throughout. Where we do have characters on screen and like interactions and animationable stuff, it's taken pretty far. It's taken to be like intricate and to have some detail to it so that it's still compelling. And then at the very end, when we get those couple of scenes of guy with sideburns, I mean, we really level it up on that realism level of stuff. We're letterboxed in, which makes it feel like we're sort of watching. This to me makes it feel like I'm a voyeur into these scenes, is the feeling that I have, or like I'm watching him within a frame. He's bad at the comedy, and then we do this like really intricate facial stuff for this guy's whole set of lines. He's like actually mouthing every word that he says, and somebody really put the effort into this. His hand whips around and stuff. It's cool. It's cool. These elements sprinkled within the colorful nature of everything, the choice to make everybody have this almost glowing red line art that integrates into the backgrounds, and to have text moving through the space and stuff, makes it all kind of feel like 3D cyberpunky and cool. It's neat. I like it. I think for the type of episode that this is like about as good as it could possibly be. About as good as you could possibly get. I'm pretty impressed. I want to check, because I hadn't done it on the last episode. I want to check Sakuga thing, the other not the Sakuga board, the website with all the keyframe, yeah, that one, keyframe staff list. Okay, Goso storyboard, Takumi Ichikawa episode directing, Mori is animation direction, and multiple assistants. Okay. Just putting that into my brain. Bam, 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 bam. Faces, faces, faces. There's such energy. There's such, to steal a modern word, there's such aura around Tengen. And it's expressed outwardly through the space and through the lighting and through the ability to almost as though, to control the way that she is framed, that Tengen is framed, is portrayed, is, I don't know what to, that, yeah, I'm losing it here. There's a moment where Tengen starts to become really intense when they're focused on, like, somebody has to stay with me, this is my ultimatum for the thing. And all the light and shadow in the space changes, even though it's, like, literally physically not changing, it's just emotional expression coming outward and being visualized without sense-making, because it doesn't need sense-making, it's emotional. We're in a space that perfectly conveys Tengen's feelings, is the vibe that it gives me without ever saying it. I think it's really cool. That starts to get accented here when we get stuff like this very subtle shift in the way that she's holding her head from here to here. You can actually see it given where my lights are. There's shading here, and now there kind of isn't, but we do it with these very sharp lines that sort of bloom across her face as she looks up a little bit. It's really cool. And those little intricacies and details are sprinkled all throughout whenever any character interacts or says anything, and it makes it feel like it's active, even though the entire episode is this one frame right here. It's all these characters standing around with Tengen over there and kind of looking at stuff, and that's the whole fucking episode. And I'm not gonna pretend like the episode doesn't feel like that's the episode. It feels like it is, but it still manages to be interesting and fun to look at during that whole thing. That's cool. So, she has a different name. I'm also using she for Tengen. I don't know if I should, but it seems like Tengen has a female voice actor. I'm gonna look it up. Tengen is agender, but was born a woman. Okay. Just has turned into an eraser, and therefore does not have a gender. Non-binary goals! This is Yoshiko Sakakibara, who is Integra Fairbrook Wingate's Helsing, who I unfortunately know much better from I was gonna say from the dub, but the truth is I know it much better from the abridged. Holy shit! That's the original voice actress for all of Haman Karn in Gundam. Huh. Wow. That's a while ago. Is a womanly woman in Kido Keisatsu Patlabor. What an incredible role. It's been too long since I saw that. Cilia Stingray and Bubblegum Crash and Crisis. Bunch of other things, too. And the narrator for JJK Season 2. Interesting. She's really been an incredible number of people on various, like, Overdrive level shows. OVAs, movies, old 80s, 90s shows. Tons of supporting characters. She's really prolific. Wow, cool. I think that her voice lends like uh an aged weightiness and power and authority through lived experience to the character that matches up really well. I think it's a great casting decision. She sounds great. Yeah, I think she sounds great. Okay. Kamo Noritoshi, Geto Suguru, Kenjaku. I'm not looking for Jujutsu Kaisen. I want to understand the etymology here, because this, I think, is a relation to the word Kenjaku, right? The sorcerer once known as Kamo Noritoshi, which also might mean that. A blade of mercy, a plan of salvation. Oh, it's a Buddhism thing. Fuku Kenjaku is the coil of rope held by a statue with which Kanon, the statue, one of the incarnations of the Buddha, used this rope to catch straying souls and lead them to salvation, postponing his own attainment of nirvana until he led every human on earth to salvation and helped them achieve enlightenment. Okay, that's important. I'm glad that I looked into that, because she references the name intentionally. Kenjaku. Is that a name that Kamo Noritoshi is calling himself, or is it a moniker that Tengen has given him? Either way, the idea of Moses-like staying behind and leading everyone else to salvation is really interesting. It mirrors the, like, I am the sacrifice in order for this whole thing to occur. It's like, it's bigger than me. It means that he's really strongly ideologically driven and views himself as the genuine savior of mankind. Okay, that's really important framing. I'm glad to have looked into it. A bit too on the nose, but that's the point. That's the whole point. Yeah, some nerve. Why do you look like that? I'd change. After 500 years, you would look like this too. I don't think so. I think I'd be a dried up husk. I really like this frame. It's super interesting. As soon as we have that question, we cut here, and our characters are right here, right? But we've taken our camera up to the top, like, top right. We're here, right? Our camera's framed up here, looking down, probably with a telephoto lens equivalent, right? So that you can hold multiple things in focus when they're very far away, and they compress. They feel like they're closer together, but you can actually remove stuff from around it by compressing your field of view with a telephoto. So, like, this frame, and then this is a different lens. This isn't just the same scene zoomed in, right? Because we're back here, and now we're probably, like, in terms of where we're placing the camera is still where it was back there, but we're putting a telephoto lens that compresses all this stuff together and expands it out. It's like, there's no reason to be doing this, except that you need interesting ways to frame this scene, and you have literally one element in the entire scene that you can frame with, and it's the tunnel. Right? It's the tunnel, and it's the other characters. So we've been framing around the other characters. Now we frame around the tunnel. Then we frame around both. Right here. Now we frame around both. Now the tunnel becomes like a window. Oh, it is the window, isn't it? It's a window. Becomes a window into the whole space, seeing all of them. But, like, why? Well, because we need to cut. The camera can't just hold on one scene the entire fucking episode. We need to cut. And we don't have anywhere to cut to. We're in a blank-ass fucking void. We can just cut to different angles in the blank-ass fucking void, but that's not gonna do it. So we come up with the most creative possible camera interactions with nothing. That's fucking dumb. That's really silly. I like it. I think it's clever, but it's really silly. My aging has accelerated, began evolving. So that event in canon has like changed everything. My identity as an individual has vanished, and the world itself is now who I am. Very soon, we're going to start getting these, like, almost digital projection elements in the space. It's really interesting. There's one of my favorite series of criticism, of literary criticism about anime, is from Ig Studio and Trixie the Golden Witch. Um, Called Ass War Sucks, which is a total teardown of the sort of dumb fighting school anime, The Asterisk War. And there's a big scene in it where he just rants for like 40 minutes about this enormous digital projection scene that does this. It does this whole thing. It's like a big tournament between schools, and they do an exposition episode with digital projection stuff that just sort of floats through the sky. But it's like supposed to actually be happening in world, and supposed to be a giant like digital VR space that they're standing in, but none of that's really fucking explained, and he gets really annoyed by it. The same could be said about all of this, but we have magic. But there's magic. And so I can completely hand wave it and be like, you know what? Actually, this space is a perfect representation of exactly what Tengen wants us to see in here. And that means using it as a giant PowerPoint location. And that's cool with me. I think it's great. The number of voices haven't increased. I don't understand. Okay, we came here to learn about how to open the prison realm. Could you tell us what you know? And we watch it fade into the background, which is really scary, yeah? So I'd like to say, but I must impose one condition we do. Snap, 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 snap. Dink, dink, dink. 2 of you must remain here to guard me. But she leaves out everyone she doesn't want here to guard her, huh? Okay, and then here's this transition. We add these light blue highlights, darken everything behind and around. It's really simple, but the whole thing reads crystal clear, right? The space is all white. When faded dark, it takes over. And then suddenly everybody else is against these darker backgrounds and being looked down on. Guard you, but you're immortal. Would you tell us about that? Like, tell us more? And when the eyes close, that all fades away and all that intensity sort of vanishes. And then we get these digital sort of topo map situations. This is fun. It's fun. This is another, like, technical jump in some ways. Because completely digitally generated spaces with random floating objects are nothing super new, but they feel really good here. Yeah? Like, not real, but like a digital generated space with 3D floating objects that I can believe. I like it. I like the whole feel of it. I like the topo maps. I like that elements of it are like artistic or painterly representations of clouds, and the elements that appear have like animation to them. They move, and they're changing and shifting as our conversation flows. Everything kind of feels video gamey, in that everything has like multiple layered borders around it, and it feels like emblems and cool things to achieve, and stuff that when you mouse over it, it'll have texture and like a sound effect, and it'll glow around the edges and be like pa-ching, chunk, ka-chunk, and be like, be real, be solid. You know that feeling? That's the feeling that I get from some of these like visual elements, these like motion graphics essentially that are occupying the space. We get it with these things sweeping in and creating cool lines between stuff. I think it's neat. And then stuff glitches into existence, telling us that it is kind of digital. We're kind of crossing these lines. We're in magic, and we're in the future, and we're in technology, and we're in the mind. And now as long as we can believe those things enough to get the information that we need, we're locked into the frame now. Now we're in the same frame as the characters, and we're like, wow, we get to witness this cool experience along with them. We get to see all these things along with them and kind of imagine ourselves in the space because the show puts us in the space. Maybe that's why we close off the door or like push it away from us. I don't really know. Or maybe that's the equivalent of like the curtain rising, yeah? That man's objective is to force the evolution of mankind across Japan. Save them, right? So even in this first motion graphic, the strands kind of coming around and then pushing this one into the Kenjaku's objective into the background and bringing one up into the foreground makes everything three-dimensional. The whole thing is existing in space. Even if I don't have grounding in it, I don't have other objects to compare stuff to, everything exists in relation to other things in space. This isn't just text floating around. It's text floating around with orientation and in places, and characters can like look at it and engage with it and see it. Yeah, we've heard that. Why not turn everyone into sorcerers with idle transfiguration? He couldn't. The simplest answer. One person at a time is too inefficient. So we have these elements established in sort of vague three-dimensional space, and then we lock them in by placing characters alongside them or with them. But we can still move them, we can still mess around, we can still really play. So we're gonna assimilate mankind with me. This is a cool angle. But it should only happen with the star plasma vessel. And that was true, and it's not anymore. That event changed everything. I've been evolving, and now I can assimilate with someone else. But they need to be kind of sorcerer awakened in order for it to be a complete transformation, like a complete integration. The way we've introduced it makes me think that Dude with Sideburns is going to be the critical character here, which is really silly. That feels right. I don't know. It feels like he's going to be the guy. But there's only one of you. Not really. This is just like a presentation layer, right? The whole world itself is who I am now. That's crazy. And they would become something more than a sorcerer. A new form of existence that's both... And we mirror her now? There wasn't a mirror before. Oh, there was. Okay. Oh, no, there wasn't. Okay. There wasn't. And then she says... What you see before you isn't my real self. Now my soul exists everywhere. We flip to here and there's a mirror image. And same with everybody else. We flip back and the mirror image is there. These little details make things fun for me, right? It's like a puzzle. It's like little pieces to pull apart. It's both there and not there. I can retain form and reason because of barrier techniques. I just want to watch these graphics like appear. Strangely, with with the digital-ish graphics appearing reminds me of, more than anything, it just clicked, is Ikuhara. Kunihiko Ikuhara with especially like Mawaru Penguin Drum and Sarazanmai. There are all these moments where like an outdoor space is converted to a space like this where perspective doesn't really make sense and objects that are kind of like representative icons are moving through the space, whether those are boxes or like humanoid mannequin figures or like little random things floating around. Yeah. There's a connection there in the back of my mind. Those shows are so fucking crazy. But if mankind evolved, they wouldn't have those same controls and barrier technique abilities, and so it would be really bad if they went out of control. So why? Evil would spread to all instantly. There would be no boundaries between individuals, so evil would spread to all instantly. So I'm getting that Tengen assimilating would assimilate everyone, right? And connect everyone, or connect that person to the whole world. And if they were to become evil, it would be like a rotten apple. It poisons the whole batch. I want to make another connection to maybe like the most impactful anime idea of the last... Gosh, it might be ever. The Evangelion idea. No boundaries between individuals. Now, I have always wanted to be orange goo, but I gotta bring that up here because that idea of removing the boundaries between us, of producing like ultimate connection in oneness, in amalgamation, and in loss of personal identity towards something greater is a powerful, dangerous idea that I think is antithetical to our way of existing in the world. But it has an interesting sort of counter to the stuff that I said at the very beginning of this episode when I was talking about being connected with people, right? And like, I think that somebody who believes in the subjugation of identity for the greater whole might see my talk about like, well, being connected with people is important. That rugged individualism isn't the best way forward as an argument for what their perspective is. But I don't think so. I think that boundaries between people with bridges over them is the way that we're looking forward. It is the thing that really works, because those like individual entities bouncing off of each other and engaging with each other and forming bonds and breaking those bonds, I think produces a lot more energy. It produces a lot more like movement and like interesting structures of people interacting with each other. But if you take it to its extreme, if you keep going, you're like ultimate connection, ultimate dispensing with individual identity and with the boundaries that surround us, you get to this point of like, we're all powerful and all like non-existent, all subsumed by the whole. It's interesting. The impurities of 100 million people will flood the world. And that's something else, like, even if no one of those people becomes, like, ultimately evil and is the bad apple that spreads to everybody else, everybody has a little bit of evil, or, like, a little bit of impurity, or however you want to frame it. Like, we all contain darkness, or maybe I should say, we all contain multitudes, and within those multitudes, there's like a statistical likelihood that some of those multitudes are bad people. Yeah. So like maybe you have a 1% of a bad person in you, and the 99% outweighs it immensely, right? But like you still have your temptations and your vices and things you do where they're not really the best way of being, and maybe you shoplifted when you were 12 and whatever. And maybe if we were all connected, all those things would spill out and overwhelm us, poison the whole thing. I don't really know. But the idea that, like, being an individual encapsulates your darkness, makes that a fight that you have to fight inside, is interesting. And then get support through the bridges, maybe. It's a cool framing. And I think kind of a reasonable justification to fight against this. It's like, this is the goal, and it's bad. It will destroy everything because our corruption will overwhelm us, is the vibe that I'm getting from it. Got these things shooting up from the fucking floor, and all the topo map has become red now and shifted in its tone a lot. That's neat. And again, these big graphics with 3D elements to them. So why not simply reject the assimilation? Just say no. Yeah, well, now I'm more cursed than human, and that means he can just eat me. Fuck. Ow. Fuck. Kamo Noritoshi getting curse manipulation really is the thing that blows this all open. I know we're about to get into, like, all these pieces had to line up, but they all kind of fell into his hands one after another. But damn, that's really the core of it. And that's why it's so important that we start where we do in this story and follow that portion of Geto and Gojo. Because, like, without him changing, without him giving Kamo Noritoshi this opportunity, he would probably have to wait another 1,000 years or something to get this shit done, and might not be able to. But of course, this is the story that we're telling, and so it's happening now. Considering his strength, he'd eat me, yomp. And so my main body is rejecting everything now. Okay. Could breach this place at any moment. So we walk through it. Kenjaku also has connections to Sukuna. Yeah. Yep. So why now? Because everything is lined up. There's a connection with the 6 eyes, which I don't understand yet, and I think is going to be really interesting if we can dig into this a little bit deeper. But eventually that was shattered. Killed both of them, and yet they still appeared, and so he chose to seal the 6 eyes instead. There can't be 2 people with the 6 eyes at the same time, so if you just kill one, He's reborn. You have to capture him and keep him. It's cool. It's like Avatar: The Last Airbender, right? Where, like, the greatest threat is not that the Avatar is slain, although that resets the cycle and the new Avatar has to learn their shit all over again. The really greatest threat is if they capture him. This is like expressed in episode 1 or 2 when Aang is first captured by Zhao, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna kill you. I'm gonna take you back and imprison you where nobody can find you, so that we get 100 years or however long we can keep you alive to do whatever the fuck we want with no Avatar in the world. Let's go." And Gojo's basically the Avatar. This time, though, Geto succeeds, or Kamonori Toshi does. The unpredicted Toji, an anomaly who broke free from cursed energy, and we show the descendants, shattered the fate that tied us, killing the Star Plasma vessel. And then Geto, and now he had all the pieces, except the prison realm, and then 6 years ago he found even that. We don't know how he found that, right? I don't think so. Now we start to integrate the text into our characters. Like, this is overlaid over Yuji, as though we can see through him a little bit, or maybe see through the text. It's interesting. A warm-up. Use the cursed energy and the boundaries, create bridges, ferry the people of this nation to the other side. And when we say the other side, we mean the other side, right? Like the dead side, the, like, spirit world side, something like that. I don't know. Or does it just mean, like, the other side of being a sorcerer? I don't know. But binding vows, we, like, shatter the whole space. Bring these guys in. Again, this is where it feels really fucking video gamey to me, and I like it. Also, do we have soundtrack going that feels... It's not the portion of the track that I was really looking for. But there are some sections of the soundtrack that feel like perfect video game background music. They've got, like, a driving energy that keeps momentum through the episode when it could get bogged down otherwise. It feels really fucking nice. He's not the game master, but there is no kind of game master. The game master is like the system of rules itself, and it will have an interface that we interact with. I wonder how that'll actually turn out. Either everybody dies in game, or they refuse to participate and die anyway. So it has to be through the creation of new rules in order to win. Like, there isn't a frame for winning this thing, right? Nothing can interrupt, and we talked about how this translation's a little bit off. In that case, we'll have to participate. Yeah, you got no choice. Like, you need somebody to gain enough points to make a rule happen in order to change things, and that means that somebody has to kill a fuckload of people. And Yuta's the one who's taking it on as his role, I think. Interesting. Add a rule that creates a way out. And we need to free Gojo, because he could solve this. So we need to do both. Tell us! We got it. Bam. Yuji will absolutely need these others. What a beast. He runs through his justification and his framing around what it means to be a brother to him again, you know, and with what we have between him and Naoya in the last episode, I can't help but be like, fuck yeah, Choso. Choso the beast. A bunch of people commented on the last episode being like how far we've come from who invited Choso to now being like, Choso, the boy. Yeah, that's cool. Thank you. We got the back of the prison realm. So there are 2 boxes, 2 cubes that lead to the same space, but they both open with essentially the same key. What matters is that we have one of them, right? It doesn't, like, it just means we don't have to go steal it. Yeah? I think. Okay. The back? Yep. But you can't open it. You need that or that, and we don't have either of them. What happened to the inverted spear of heaven? Oh, Toji used it a bunch. He stabbed him with it, negating limitless. I remember this. Okay. Oh yeah, and then he connected it to a giant chain thing, and wham, 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 wham. Okay, so we don't actually know what happened to it. She just says that she expects that it was destroyed or sealed. And we don't know about the black rope either. But there is still a way, and it's Angel. Like these letterboxed introduction frames for Angel, they're really cool to me. So the curly hair and stuff, it's neat. What an interesting character. Positioning self as an angel, literally with the trumpet and the wings and magic and okay, interesting. A cursed technique that can extinguish any other cursed technique really feels like a Chainsaw Man crossover, kind of. Interesting. Kurusu Hana. Okay. Extinguish? Not just suppress. I don't know. I don't know. This might be my favorite graphical element. Oh! We do this big 3D. You know, these look like US Army ads. You know, like, come join us now with Palantir running our AI system. Yeah, it feels a lot like that. It's cool. Not to say that those ads are cool, but they know what they're doing, right? They know they know what they're doing, trying to show you cool techie stuff and be like, look at all this technical stuff. 10 colonies linked by barriers. He realizes that this is similar to the bridge thing that we've talked about before, which is a really cool setup. You know, that's one of the elements of JJK that continues to like surprise me in positive ways, is that things that are thrown out as like justifications and world building stuff that doesn't really seem to matter, but causes things that are occurring in the moment ends up being relevant to important, bigger things later. It builds up theories and sort of physics engine stuff where it's like, yeah, we know that this circumstance occurs this way in this context. Now, if we expand that context to the entire world, does it still work the same way? And the answer is yes. Yes, it does, with some little fiddly bits. But because we've already been introduced to the idea, it's like, whoa, that's familiar. It rhymes. It makes sense. As above, so below. As large, so small. Like, things feel kind of coherent in that way. Even when there are confusing elements that I don't get, the fact that those connect makes me feel like I can trust the story. You know, I can trust the ideas here. Which is a little silly, but kind of cool. So we get this cool motion graphical thing as this enormous barrier expands out across Japan and changes the color of the whole frame. Exclude Hokkaido. Accomplish, accomplish, accomplish. 2 months. It's November 9th, so we have 10 days. 15 hours. This frame on Megumi getting, like... it's just like another little subtle head tilt. This one without even all the shadows blooming or shifting on his face, but it's like, it anchors in. It's cool. We get some questions about stripped of their technique and a beautiful butane flame. Wow. Wow, that's super cool. No risk for her. And maybe for Panda. Okay, so this one and the conversation about it is there's something wrong here. Because the way that they talk about it and then the rule that they actually express don't totally line up. Non-players who enter a colony become players at the moment of entry and shall be considered to have declared participation in the culling game. So if you enter a colony, you become a player and you've declared participation. So that covers the 19-day rule situation. What does that mean for ordinary people who were in the colony? Oh, okay, so if you're already in the colony, have you entered the colony? Does that, like, count if the colony forms around you? And seems like what they're saying is explicitly no, which means you could leave, right? You're granted at least one chance to leave. Okay, so this actually does make sense. There might not be a translation fuck. It just means that if you show up at a colony, now you're in it. If you started in a colony, you leave, you're not in it. If you come back, you're in it. Okay. And that means that it has to be like a conscious choice. Sliding text through the space. Yeah, it's fun. The idea that they entered of their own free will is important. And there's another like reference to a piece of like physics, right, in the background, a piece of magical physics. If I wanted to go and investigate that, I'm sure it would make a bunch of sense. It has to do something with like entering a barrier on your own makes it stronger or something like that. Score points upon ending the life. What is this frame with the phone that he sees? I'm not sure about that frame exactly, but we can see what Yuji is dealing with here. And Megumi is watching him. Yuji's thinking, am I gonna have to kill more people? 100 points, add new rule. Oh, can't eliminate existing rules. But we could circumvent them in roundabout ways, potentially, and they have to accept them as long as they don't end the game or, like, disrupt it. And it should be fair. It's a cool framework. It's cool to have a magic system that enforces rules. Yeah? Like, he's putting a bunch of rules on us, and that means he's going to be bound by them too. I like that. I like that a lot. Will I have to kill people again? No, I have a few ideas. Megumi has a way forward outside of that, so we'll see. We'll see what that ends up being. We wipe it all away. Now for our roles, what will we do? We do our actual planning, retrieve the cursed tools. That's gonna get funky because of Naoya, right? Megumi's the head now, but not uncontested. Kumiya Juzo's workshop. Did he create the, like, knife? Oh, no, he's the dude with the, like, hatchet. He made the stakes that they used to create the thing, and probably the hammer, right? To create the curtain to keep Gojo out. And then the sword, the, like, hand sword that Haruta used, that has the hand and the grippy hand that holds your hand. Yeah. So he had a workshop where he was creating cursed tools, and now Maki wants it because she'll be able to fucking use it and make stuff, which is really cool. You know, you've got somebody who's a super cursed tool user, and they can now make their own cursed tools. Yeah, it's fucking cool. Yuta's gonna go and participate immediately. These little green little sparkles around them. It's all fun. It'll mean acting on my own again, but it's for the best to keep us from clashing with each other. And I won't be in a nearby colony in case something happens to Tsumiki. But what about that deal that we had? Well, we'll figure it out. Megumi just sort of washes over. It's like, not the time for it. If you kill me, you can have him kill you at the end of things. Just, dude, that's the whole point. I don't want you to die. But we see how Megumi feels about all of this. Shut the fuck up. Let's go. We got bigger things to do. Now we gotta go see Kinji, a suspended third year who we really need, who Yuta says is stronger than him, but Maki says is not actually going to be stronger than him. And then the big frame, now we're boxed in by these 4 panels that have all that information on them, and I'm just gonna skim through them. Some of it has like a timeline portion that's pretty cool. Zen Toji intervenes 12 years ago. With the murder of Amano Rika, things really change. We can no longer assimilate Tengen. The fate that binds Rika and Six Eyes is shattered by the sealing of Gojo and the death of Rika. Obtaining the prison realm halfway back 6 years ago makes everything else possible. Not assimilating means that Tengen is now evolving and is now a target for cursed manipulation and can assimilate with other people. So the culling game is to warm people up for that. Geto dies, obtains cursed manipulation, absorbs Mahito, obtains idol transfiguration, and can't turn all of mankind into sorcerers because he doesn't have enough cursed energy. So we force modern sorcerers and sorcerers awakened or incarnated through idol transfiguration to fight. We can absorb Tengen with cursed manipulation, and bam, that allows the assimilation and then the evolution. Cool. I think that makes sense. Colony, modern sorcerers and incarnated sorcerers and those whose cursed techniques awaken by idol transfiguration, bam bam, leads to a fight, stocks up our cursed energy, the culling game rules force them to fight. 10 colonies across Japan use the stocked up energy to move the barriers designed to ferry people to the other side. Forced across to the other side equals cursed. Thank you. Warm up, assimilate mankind with Tengen. Cool. So our mission in response, free Gojo. Obtain the prison realm. Kenjaku has it. So we can't do it without the front gate. So we gotta open the prison realm back. We have to force it open. We can't use the inverted spear of heaven. We can't use the black rope. We have to use angel. And I just realized that this is really cool. The fact that there are a bunch of routes that would work, but have been closed to us by circumstance, really adds a tonal shift to things. It like changes the vibe. It's not just that the author has fiated the route forward, it's that this is a real puzzle that the characters actually have to deal with, and they're coming up against a bunch of obstacles. Not just story obstacles that are like, that's the thing that you obviously need to overcome. Every hill is the next hill over which there's another dragon, and every dragon that you fight is worth killing because it has the monster, or it's gonna have the MacGuffin that you need. You get this sense in D&D games, if you like, every enemy that you kill has some cool treasure that's particularly valuable to you, or like everything that you go and do happens to be linked into the main plot line. It's like, there's a feeling of like, well, so there's nothing else really going on in this world? Like, where's the confusion and chaos of reality? It's right here. It's in all these things not working out right, and us having to fucking think about it and come up with an alternative solution. It's cool. Rescue people, spend 100 points, add a rule allowing escape, and what is this? Persuade players with 100 points and no intention of adding a rule? Oh, well, we didn't really go over that. I'm curious. Technique that extinguishes all. Miguel no Kotsu, yes, I heard destroyed. Yeah. Colony on the east side of Tokyo, that's where we're headed. Kumiya Juzo's cursed tools. Fushiguro is head. Go to the warehouse, meet with Panda. Okotsu, go on alone, gather information. Itadori and Fushiguro are going to recruit Hakari Kinji, and Tsukumo and Choso are going to guard Tengen. Remain in the tombs, participate in the culling game. That's it. We wave our goodbye. Itadori has the, he needs to turn around and say thank you to Choso. Don't die. Yeah, you too, man. I feel like Choso's going to die. I'm really scared now. I felt like Choso was just going to die a whole bunch of times, though, and he's still cooking. I hope he keeps cooking. And then we are introduced to a very much despairing, very much downtrodden wannabe comic who's got a very, very animated boss. None of them got funnier. Go find something you're actually suited for. Let me get some, like the fucking newspaper and the like creases in his eyes and stuff. Oh, and we're doing we're holding them both in focus as well. It's all framed as film, like truly on film. Are funny or think they're funny. He says both can be successful. Even this question absolutely sends him spiraling. Takaba Fumihiko, culling game player. He's our first guy. First one we're gonna meet. Looks like things are gonna kick off. I think that I expect that after a big info dump episode like this, things are gonna kick into gear rather quickly over the course of the next couple episodes, and I'm excited to see it. Because we've done this sacrifice, right? This huge amount of effort, emphasis, and time placed on mediocre anime stuff, right? In terms of what makes anime cool, this is not it. This is not it. This is the bad. This is the stuff you want to push to the edges and minimize and make as small as possible and cover up with other stuff and put Subway Surfers in the center so that people pay the fuck attention to it, right? And instead, while it does have those elements, it is a bunch of information. It's like quite a vibe. And it still fulfills the need of sacrificing a little bit to gain a lot of information that we can then just reference rapidly in moment when things are actually going down and give us a much better view of everything, a better idea of everything that's going on, so that we're not like lost all the time while characters are fighting. We would much rather sacrifice some anime-ness for a little bit than have to deal with being confused in the middle of extravagant fight scenes. Because if I'm watching an extraordinary fight scene and suddenly I'm going, why are these characters in this fight scene again? Like, what are we doing here? What's the point? Who's this person that they're fighting? Then we're fucked. So in order to prevent that completely, we spend a little bit of time doing some text on screen and some characters standing around in a void, and we do everything that we can to make it as interesting as possible. And I think to the extent that it possibly can, Jujutsu Kaisen has succeeded at doing that. That's pretty cool. I'm gonna go glance at Sakagaburu just to catch if I can get information on the like talking cuts at the very end and like the flame from the lighter and some of those other elements. I just want to take a glance at them and see if we can gather any information. Okay, there are just a few. Such pleasing drawings. I agree. They're really fun. And then there's that transition. We're artist unknown. Too bad. Yaji Lu. Wepe. Nahu for some of it. Fire. I don't know. I can't actually say that this is necessarily Yaji Lu. Wait, where's the fire? There it is. Oh, the hand movement too? That's really cool. Bling bling. Very expressive. And then goofy. Cool. CAD is Mori, which we knew from before. Zhuanjing Wang. This is the walk away, the turn back, and the Choso face. Wow, that mouth movement I didn't catch earlier. That's really cool. It's very smooth. Is it 24? No. No, and there are skipped frames as well. It's got like slightly variable frame rate to it to make it even more human. Wow, okay, very cool. Really smooth feeling. This is artist unknown. This is just like all these interactions in the background with foreground elements, and then this like up close. It's kind of claustrophobic. It's like he's too close to me. You know what it feels like? This feels like Office Space when, yeah, I'm gonna need you to do something about that. Yeah. That's what this feels like to me. Like I'm being imposed upon by this fucking guy. And even when I'm getting advice from somebody that like is kinder and seems to care about me, it's like from the other side. It's like it's off kilter a little bit. And this big distortion on the end. Okay, cool. So those are the cuts that we have access to, and it makes sense that there are very few. But those that are there are really, really detailed and nice. I'm looking forward to some crazy action to balance this out come next episode, and I think JJK will deliver. Thanks for watching through the info dump episode with me. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that if there are any things in here that are translated weird or I've misinterpreted, and that's going to have any impact on my understanding moving forward, I really hope that you will comment about that in the comments and let me know so that moving forward we have that total like understanding of the culling game as best as possible so that we can really focus in on the fights and the action and the decision making by the characters and the animation of the whole thing and just the art of it. Yeah. So there's my thing. I'm super glad to be alive and to still have a house to stay in. Fire didn't destroy it all. That's super great. And thank you for joining me for this episode. I'll see you next week for the next one. Much love. Peace.